Did you know that every day we are generating data exhaust? The digital footprint we leave each day is tremendous, and especially in the tourism industry, which we are going to explore today, the use of big data is impressive. This is Charlotte. She wants to go on a holiday, and she isn't the only one. In fact, Singaporean residents made 8.36 million outbound trips by air last year. Tourism is a booming industry in most countries. This means there is a flood in the volume of data generated at an increasing velocity. For example, in only a 9-month period, there were close to 200,000 tweets from the Great Barrier Reef region in Australia. Tourism data is also arriving at a pace much faster than traditional structured data ever did. Mastercard transactions alone yielded 160 million transactions per hour from more than 210 countries. And this tourism data comes in a variety of formats. Some are structured, like the number of tourists and length of stay. Some are unstructured, like the online reviews and photos. Clearly, the tourism industry is a great example of an industry where big data and the 3 V's, volume, velocity, and variety, come into play. Increasingly, businesses involved in the tourism industry have to find ways to profit from this data. Let's trace Charlotte's journey to find out how big data is used by businesses every step of the way. It all starts with the consumer. Charlotte has to find the right hotel. She goes on to hotels.com to find one that she likes. This is where these hotel booking websites have to quickly capture the interests of potential customers like Charlotte. Or else, these customers will abandon their services to search for another that suits them. And indeed, this was a problem that Hotels.com faced. Often, people exited their website without booking a hotel. To tackle this challenge, Hotels.com used an assortment of analytics. It used descriptive analytics in the form of web usage mining to extract data on what users have searched before landing on Hotel.com. It also used predictive analytics to infer the demographic of the user. For example, if Charlotte was looking at Japanese hotel ratings on another website, she is probably planning to visit Japan, and the predictive model will identify her as such. Finally, when the user lands on Hotels.com, the prescriptive analytics layer uses decision logic to recommend and rank a tailored list of hotels for the user. It is important to note here that there is a feedback loop. Did the user click on the recommendations and make a booking? This information is fed back into the system to either validate the algorithm model if she was making a booking, or to modify the model if it was inadequate in retaining the user. This streamlines the customer decision-making process. Hotels.com have since seen higher conversion rates, which means higher profits. Meanwhile, over at Marriott's end, the prices of hotel reservations are highly elastic, influenced by many factors like demand, the time of year, and weather. Charge too much and you end up losing revenue to lower price competitors. Charge too little and you end up with wasted opportunities. How much to charge? Marriott International uses predictive and prescriptive analytics to find that out. This was a practice that started in Starwood Hotels. This hotel has since merged with Marriott International. Starwood integrated and analyzed information such as real-time data. This includes external data on local and global economic factors, events and weather reports, and etc. And internal data like cancellation and occupancy, revenue per available room, reservation behavior, average occupancy rate, gross operating profit per available room. This data enables Marriott to predict customer behavior and derive optimal prices based on the results of its real-time analytics and demand forecast. For example, if on a rainy day, North American consumers are more willing to spend for a week of vacation in the Caribbean, the revenue optimization system will automatically adjust rates. If customers are willing to pay more, then it makes sense to charge higher prices. With these analytics, Starwood managed a 5% increase in its revenue per room within just 1 year, and today, Marriott is able to maximize its profits and ensure adequate staffing. Investing to build new hotels is always risky business. In 2010 alone, there were 2,500 hotels in the United States which were not doing well, and they accounted for a nearly $40 billion loss. Where and what kind of hotels to build is always a heavy question. Fortunately for Marriott, it was able to enlist the help of Buxton, a customer analytics company. It possesses detailed data on 116 million households. This wealth of data includes information like the frequency of travel, and using this information, customer profiles can be created. Marriott was then able to identify where and why people travel. Furthermore, analytics was used to predict where the unmet demand for new hotels is. Prescriptive analytics then point to the optimal location and type of hotel to build. After all, the kind of hotel you are going to build in Singapore at a middle-class district versus the type of hotel you're going to build at a beach in Bali is going to be very different. Using analytics, hotels like Marriott are able to decrease investment risks and potential debt. They are able to build hotels that provide customers with the best experience suited to their personality. Now she has the hotel settled. The next thing she needs are airplane tickets. Retaining the potential customer at this point is very critical, especially because airlines have always operated on razor-thin profit margins. Besides, global low-cost carriers have been intensifying competition and weakening the profit position of airlines like Japan Airlines. To take the example of Japan Airlines, it has been facing another problem as well. It has a huge wealth of data, and yet previously it did not know how to create value out of that data. To turn this situation around, Japan Airlines collaborated with NEC Corporation. The project employed artificial intelligence to analyze access log and other data from a flight booking website run by the airlines. It also conducted predictive analysis for the purchase of airline tickets. The predictive analysis made use of internal data from the booking engine, such as web access logs, member information, passenger boarding history, and the routes chosen by the members. Now, this allowed Japan Airlines to segment their members using classification and clustering algorithms and predict the willingness to pay for different segments. And this allowed them to target not only current members but new potential customers as well. How so? Well, for current members, they can send notifications of targeted special offers at appropriate times. For new potential customers like Charlotte, they can cross-reference their user behavior data such as referral sources from current members to predict their preferences, willingness to pay, and hence implement dynamic prices. Such tactics enable airlines like Japan Airlines to price accordingly to demand and maximize profits. Now she's got her tickets. She's off. Aviation fuel don't come cheap, and a plane like a Boeing 747 uses approximately 1 gallon of fuel every second. Running efficient flight operations requires insights into dozens of variables, such as operating conditions, trajectories, fuel usage, weight, and balance across flights and fleets. Legacy systems kept much of this data separate. It has traditionally been difficult to understand how they were using their fuel. This is why Japan Airlines used the Go Direct Flight Efficiency System, which was created by Honeywell Aerospace. This is an optimization tool using prescriptive analytics. It brings together all the flight variables such as flight plans and weather into one place. This gives Japan Airlines a comprehensive look at fleet and environment data. This allows Japan Airlines to drill down and optimize flight paths, select the best procedures, and assess trade-offs between flight distances and fuel burn. It is estimated to save Japan Airlines between 20 million and 60 million per year. Charlotte's in Japan. She wonders where the best places to go are, so she decides to ask the tourist information counter. The kind lady at the counter tells Charlotte that the Sano festival is happening at Hiei Shrine. And how does the lady at the counter know what campaign Charlotte might like? The JTB Corporation used analytics to find out. This effort started in the aftermath of the Fukushima nuclear disaster, which negatively impacted the tourism industry. The Japanese Tourism Board tackled this by identifying tourist hotbeds that can potentially be key appeal attractions to further expand the tourist market in Japan. Well, how exactly did they identify these? They made use of anonymized data ranging from mobile GPS coordinates, social media streams, to the general history of mobile use. This helps JTB find out where tourists arrive and depart, the routes they prefer, their length of stay, and whether they use accommodations. Such data is analyzed in two ways. The way tourists travel in the region can be analyzed through descriptive analytics, providing insight on their pattern of movement. Building upon these descriptive analytics, JTB coordinates with other businesses along the routes frequented by tourists to maximize tourist dollars. JTB can also forecast and predict areas with relative potential but are less traveled. This allows JTB to promote areas overlooked usually by tourists but are likely to appeal to them. JTB's approach is not new. Similarly, Singapore's Tourism Board has also declared access to telecommunication big data. They are able to apply their own analytics network to summarize tourist patterns to make predictions with respect to the race of the tourists. For example, the timing in which a particular race of tourists make a switch to a higher tier. A week has passed and Charlotte thoroughly enjoyed her stay. At the airport, she gets approached by a lady working at JTB. She comes up with a survey form. This is how the Japanese tourism agency knows that they are doing their job well. Their aim was to find out more about the market. They want to know how tourists view the image of Japan so that they can better target their market and develop more appropriate tourism products and make destinations more attractive. Surveys are given out to tourists at airport and seaports. They tested for tourists' attributes of satisfaction, overall satisfaction and intention to return, and questions regarding the tourist's demographic. The information collected was then placed into decision trees for categorization. It might not seem like big data, but just in 2010, 4,000 surveys were given out. The result? Reasons for intention to return and satisfaction. Merely reporting the conclusion is descriptive, but they are using this descriptive layer to find out if their current strategy driven by analytics is working. This empowers them to modify accordingly and optimize strategies to create new demand. This is where it gets prescriptive. To end off, we would like to put forth a quote from Jack Ma, someone at the forefront of this big data scene. He mentioned that for the last 200 years, standardization was the trend. Coming 100 years, customization will be key. This will be a challenge to large corporations unless they embrace big data. In this era, the expectations of customers are getting higher and higher, and they want to feel special. They want a personalized experience. This rings especially true for the tourism industry. How do we create unforgettable moments for these customers and make the tourism scene blossom? Big data analytics has the ability to crunch the vast digital footprint left by tourists every step of the way. It empowers businesses to predict customer needs and provide best recommendations to suit their preferences, to feel valued, and that makes all the difference.
Thanks to big data, this trip to Japan has been a great success. Yay!